Most people do not stay broke because they do not make enough money. They stay broke because every time money hits their cake, they use it to fix an emotion. That's the part nobody wants to say out loud. They spend when they feel behind. They spend when they feel insecure. They spend when they're stressed, bored, lonely, frustrated, or trying to prove something. And then at the end of the month, they look at their bank account like it betrayed them. It didn't. You did what you always do. You used money like a coping mechanism, not a tool. Let's be honest. A lot of people think they have a money problem, but really, they have a behavior problem. They have an identity problem. They have a validation problem. Because if you keep making decisions that feel good now, but make your future worse, that is not bad luck. That is a pattern. And this is why some people can make more money every year and still feel financially unstable. They upgrade the clothes, the car, the weekends, the image, the food, the apartment, the little I deserve it purchases, but nothing actually changes. Same anxiety, same pressure, same broke mindset. Just with better packaging. So in this video, I want to break this down simply. I want to show you why your relationship with money might be messed up, what behaviors are quietly keeping you stuck, and how to actually fix it in 2026 without fake guru nonsense, without overcomplicating it, and without pretending this is just about budgeting, because the truth is simple, you don't build wealth with information alone. You build it with behavior. Before we get into it, what's one thing you regret wasting money on? Comment it below. Now here's why this matters more than ever. Bad money psychology is dangerous because it looks normal. That's the whole problem. Nobody sees emotional spending and thinks, wow, this guy is self-sabotaging his future. It just looks like shopping. It looks like treating yourself. It looks like going out. It looks like upgrading. It looks like enjoying your life. But behind that, there's usually something else going on. A lot of people are buying because they feel behind. A lot of people are spending because social media makes being average feel like failure. A lot of people are trying to look successful before they actually become stable. And this is where people get themselves in trouble because the pressure to look good financially has become stronger than the discipline to actually get good financially. So now you've got people making decent money and still living check to check. You've got people who could be building savings, investing, and buying themselves freedom, but instead they're financing a lifestyle they can barely hold together. They look rich for strangers and feel broke in private. That's not a money strategy. That's emotional leakage. If your money keeps disappearing, your emotions are probably involved. And if I'm being honest, this is what keeps people stuck for years. Not a lack of information, not a lack of YouTube videos, not a lack of budgeting apps. It's the fact that they never fix the behavior underneath the numbers. So let's talk about the real patterns. The first one is insecurity spending. This is one of the most expensive habits people have, and they almost never call it what it is. They call it confidence. They call it self-investment. They call it rewarding themselves. Sometimes it is. A lot of the time, it's insecurity wearing a nicer outfit. A guy feels behind in life, so he buys things that make him look ahead. Better shoes, better watch, better phone, better car, better dinners, better trips. Not because he actually needs them, but because he wants to feel like somebody. He wants people to see him differently. He wants proof that he's not losing. I get it. Nobody wants to feel small. Nobody wants to feel like the guy who hasn't figured it out. But the real issue here is that when your self-worth gets tied to what you can display, your money stops serving you and starts performing for other people. One guy uses money to buy attention. Another guy uses money to buy options. Those are two completely different lives. The first guy wants to look rich this month. The second guy wants to actually be rich in 5 years. The first guy gets dopamine. The second guy gets leverage. And most people keep choosing the first one because it feels better right now. That's the trap. Status spending is one of the easiest ways to stay financially weak while looking financially strong. You feel better for a minute, but your future gets thinner every time you do it. Because every dollar you spend trying to look established is a dollar that does not go into your savings, your investing, your emergency fund, your freedom. And here's a question I really want you to sit with. Would you still buy it if nobody ever saw it? That question alone will expose a lot, because if the answer is no, then let's call it what it is. It's probably not for you. It's for your image. And your image is expensive. Second pattern is emotional spending. This one is even more common because it feels harmless. You had a rough day, so you order food. You're stressed, so you buy something online. You're bored, so you scroll and spend. You feel stuck, so you book something, buy something, subscribe to something, or convince yourself you need a reset. No, you need awareness. A lot of people are not shopping because they need something. They are shopping because they need to feel different. That line right there is the whole game. They do not want the item. They want the emotional shift, they want relief, they want novelty, they want control, they want a quick hit of movement because internally they feel flat, irritated, or overwhelmed. So spending becomes emotional medication, and obviously that creates a cycle. You feel bad, so you spend. Then you feel guilty because you spent. Then you feel more stressed because now your money is tighter. Then you spend again because you want relief from the stress you created. That cycle will keep a person financially immature for years. And the worst part is, these purchases usually do not even look dramatic. It's not always death by 1,000 swipes, random food, random clothes, random subscriptions, random upgrades, random small purchases that are actually emotional habits in disguise. If I were you, I would go through the last 30 days of spending and ask one question next to every non essential purchase. What was I feeling right before I bought this? Not what did I buy? What did I feel? Because once you see the trigger, the pattern gets harder to lie about. And the fix here is simple, not easy. Simple, you need friction. You need a delay between emotion and purchase. 24 hours minimum for anything unplanned. Delete your saved cards, leave things in the cart, move extra money into savings before your feelings get access to it. Make it slightly harder to be impulsive. Because discipline is not always about being stronger. Sometimes it's just about being slower. The third pattern is scarcity thinking. Now, this one is sneaky because people hear scarcity mindset and think it just means not having enough money. That's not really it. Scarcity is when your brain starts treating money like something unstable, something that disappears fast, something you cannot trust yourself with. And when that becomes your default, you start making weird decisions. Some people cling to money so hard that they never invest, never take smart risks, never grow, never let their money do anything useful. Other people do the opposite. The second money comes in, they spend it fast because deep down they do not believe it will stay anyway. One person hoards out of fear. One person burns out of fear. Fruit problem. Different costume. This is what happens when you've spent enough time feeling financially unstable. Your nervous system gets involved. Money stops feeling neutral, it starts feeling urgent. And when money feels urgent, people make short-term decisions just to calm themselves down. That's why some people get paid and instantly feel rich for 48 hours, then broke again for the next 2 weeks. It's not just poor planning, it's emotional volatility. And in 2026, this is worse because there's more noise than ever. More comparison, more pressure, more content making you feel late, more people flexing things you cannot verify. So no, restraint is trying to build stability in an environment designed to make you feel behind. That's why you need structure, not vibes. The moment money comes in, it needs a job. Bills, spending, saving, investing. Done. Simple. No drama, no freestyle, because money without direction will always get pulled toward emotion. The fourth pattern is rich looking versus rich being. This one is massive. Especially for younger guys, a lot of people do not want financial peace. They want financial aesthetics. They want the appearance of success. They want their life to look expensive, put together, impressive, sharp. And again, I get it. Everybody wants to feel like they're moving up. But the problem is, looking rich and being rich are not the same thing at all. Person can raise and upgrades the car payment. Another person gets a raise and upgrades the automatic investment. One feels richer immediately. The other becomes richer quietly. That's the contrast nobody wants to hear because the boring move usually wins. Lifestyle inflation is one of the cleanest ways to stay trapped. The second people make more money, they increase the cost of being themselves. Better apartment, better restaurants, better weekends, better everything. Now they need more money just to maintain the identity they created. And this is what keeps people stuck. They think more income will solve the pressure, but if your lifestyle expands every time your income does, then congratulations, you just gave yourself a nicer version of the same problem. You're not progressing, you're just scaling the stress. And here's the warning. Do not confuse ego upgrades with real progress. A lot of people say this motivates me. No, sometimes it doesn't motivate you. Sometimes it chains you. Sometimes that expensive upgrade just makes you more dependent on continuing to earn at a level that gives you no room to breathe. Real wealth is not loud. Real wealth is flexibility. Real wealth is margin. Real wealth is not needing to panic every month because your image is expensive to maintain. The whole point here is freedom, not performance. The fifth pattern is self-sabotage after progress. This one is brutal because people do not realize they're doing it. They save for a few weeks. They get disciplined. They stop spending as much. They finally start feeling in control. Then out of nowhere, they blow money on something stupid and say, you know what, I deserve it. No, you deserve the progress. You just got uncomfortable with stability. That is a real thing. Some people are more familiar with chaos than consistency. Chaos feels normal. Overspending feels normal. Cleaning up a mess feels normal. But calm, structure, having money sit untouched, acting like a disciplined adult for multiple months in a row, that starts to feel weird. And when something better feels unfamiliar, people often sabotage it just to return to what feels emotionally normal. Your old identity will fight your new habits if you do not replace it on purpose. That's why people keep resetting themselves. They make progress, then destroy it, then make progress, then destroy it, then call themselves lazy, inconsistent, undisciplined. But the deeper issue is that they still identify as the old version of themselves, the version that spends emotionally, the version that always slips, the version that cannot be trusted around money. If that identity stays the same, the behavior usually comes back. So stop rewarding discipline with self-destruction. If you want a reward, make it planned, make it small, make it clean. But do not spend 3 weeks building momentum just to blow it in one weekend because you wanted to feel free. That is not freedom. That is relapse with better branding. Now let's get practical, because the whole point here is not to just call out the problem. It's to fix it. If I were helping you reset your relationship with money in 2026, I'd make it stupid simple. First, I'd audit the last 30 days of spending, not just the totals, the patterns. What did you spend on when you were tired? What did you spend on when you were stressed? What did you spend on when you wanted validation? You need to stop looking at your bank statement like it's just numbers. It's behavior data. Second, separate your spending into 3 buckets. Real needs, real enjoyment, emotional leakage. That last category is where your future is getting robbed. That's the random spending, the validation spending, the boredom spending, the image spending, the little I had a bad day spending. Once you see how much goes there, your excuses start sounding weak. Third, create friction before impulse buying. 24-hour rule, unsave your card, no buying late at night, no buying just because you got paid, no buying because you felt insecure after scrolling social media for 20 minutes. Protect yourself from your temporary self. Fourth, automate good behavior. This matters a lot, because the less your financial future depends on your mood, the better. Auto transfer to savings. Auto invest. Auto separate bills. Make your good decisions happen before your emotions show up, and start negotiating. Fifth, redirect extra money immediately. Do not leave it sitting around waiting for you to feel something. Give it a mission. Emergency fund, investing, debt payoff, future freedom. Money behaves better when it has somewhere to go. And finally, tie your money habits to identity. This part matters more than people think. Stop saying, I'm trying to be better with money. Start saying, I'm the kind of guy who handles money well. That sounds small, but it changes everything. Because when your habits are tied to identity, discipline stops feeling like punishment. It starts feeling like alignment. You're not depriving yourself. You're becoming somebody, and that is how your relationship with money actually changes. Not from one motivational video, not from one perfect month, not from pretending you'll never slip again. It changes when money stops being your emotional escape and starts becoming your tool. That's the shift. At the end of the day, you probably do not need another budgeting hack. You need honesty. You need to admit where your money has really been going and why. Because once you fix the behavior, the numbers get a lot easier to fix. You do not have a money problem if your real issue is insecurity, impulsiveness, validation, and emotional habits. Fix that, and your finances finally have a chance. If you enjoyed the video, drop a like down below. Hit that subscribe button.